Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you had a beautiful night last night. We've got lots of interesting news to go through today. Looks like Senators Johnson and Grassley have requested that AG Bill Barr declassify portions of the IG report, specifically several footnotes that contradict the public information that's available to us. Also, it looks like President Trump is out there today talking about John Bolton. We've got a couple of key video clips of John Bolton in some hot take moments, something from Methods and something from another user on Twitter. We've also got some posts to go through, some information regarding those posts from yesterday, and maybe a couple of other things. So please, everyone, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsor. A famous movie villain once said, "Introduce a little anarchy, upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos." Well, rarely in history have truer words been spoken, and history has demonstrated this repeatedly. Whether it's a stock market crash, a tea attack, the power goes off longer than you've expected. All of these things happen without warning, and when it's breaking news, it's too late to prepare, and you're in a panicked scramble. Now, to avoid the chaos, there's a few things you should do, one in particular, but build an emergency food supply. I personally trust and use my Patriot Supply to do this for me and my family. Now, you can get started with a 2-week kit at their website, and this week you can save 40% off these food kits when you go to my special website, preparewithredpill78.com. These kits include breakfasts, lunches, and dinners that last up to 25 years in storage, and they arrive to your door with guaranteed 2-day delivery. Those who know what's coming are preparing today, and you should too. So go to preparewithredpill78.com and save 40% off right now. Once again, that's preparewithredpill78.com. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today in a tweet from Undercover Huber, apparently Senators Johnson and Grassley have requested that AG Bill Barr declassify certain portions of the IG report, specifically 4 footnotes and the information available within, because apparently the information in those footnotes directly contradicts the publicly available information that we have in the report itself. So let's go take a look at an article from the Gateway Pundit to look a little deeper. All right, so several top GOP senators are requesting that Bill Barr declassify these 4 footnotes. Now, Chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, Ron Johnson, and Chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, Chuck Grassley, yesterday sent a letter to AG Bill Barr asking him to declassify 4 footnotes in Horowitz's report on FISA abuse. Now, the senators state that the classified footnotes contradict what's publicly available in Horowitz's report, which is on Crossfire Hurricane, the CI investigation, and all of it into Trump's campaign back in July of 2016. The note that they sent AG Barr says, "We have reviewed the findings of the Office of the Inspector General with regard to the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane investigation, and we are deeply concerned about certain information that remains classified. Specifically, we are concerned that certain sections of the public version of the report are misleading because they are contradicted by relevant and probative classified information redacted in 4 footnotes. This classified information is significant not only because it contradicts key statements in a section of the report, but also because it provides insight essential for an accurate evaluation of the entire investigation." Now, Senators Grassley and Johnson continued, "The American public have a right to know what is contained in these 4 footnotes, and without that knowledge, they will never have a full picture as to what happened during the Crossfire Hurricane investigation." Now, they don't go into specifics about what was actually in those footnotes, but apparently sometime in the past, Horowitz had updated the IG report on FISA abuse because he needed to cover up that discrepancy. Now, that report has 2 statements on the FBI's use of confidential human sources back in the 2016 Trump campaign that directly contradict each other. In Chapter 10 of the original report, it was claimed that the FBI didn't use confidential human sources to infiltrate Trump's campaign prior to the opening of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation back in July of 2016. However, in the very next chapter, the report contradicts itself and states that the Crossfire Hurricane team tasked several confidential human sources and UCEs during the 2016 presidential campaign, which resulted in multiple interactions with Carter Page and Papadopoulos before and after they were affiliated with the Trump campaign, and an interaction with the high-level Trump campaign official. Now, apparently Horowitz stealth-edited this discrepancy to cover for the FBI and possibly cover for Joseph Mifsud's role in spying on the Trump campaign because he approached Papadopoulos very early on. In the edited version of the report, the IG claims that Crossfire Hurricane team used confidential human sources on Carter Page and Papadopoulos during and after the time they were affiliated with the Trump campaign. The edits still do not address the discrepancies in the report, and if the FBI was using confidential human sources on Papadopoulos and Page during their time on the Trump team, this would mean the spies were used as early as March of 2016, which is several months before Crossfire Hurricane was even a glimmer in the eye of the FBI. And this contradicts another part of that Horowitz report. So, clearly, this is not necessarily something surprising. It is a little surprising that they were so sloppy and they missed this. You have to wonder, were they trying to figure out during the course of writing this report whether or not they were going to admit that they used these confidential human sources so early on? Or were the people who were preparing the reports, which I'm sure there were actually many people that worked on this, or did they themselves try to just report on it honestly, and then somebody went through and tried to clean it up and make it look as if everything was above board and didn't start until the actual official date? Well, clearly, they were using confidential human sources on Trump team members way early on. They had this investigation started well before the official beginning of the investigation, and we know exactly why that is. They wanted to remove Trump at any cost, and they were willing to do whatever it took to get it. And now that they are facing the piper on this particular matter, people are starting to freak out. Well, I'm really glad to see that Senators Johnson and Grassley are taking care of this, and hopefully they will continue to pressure AG Bill Barr as well as pressuring IG Horowitz. Now, the big man in Washington right now is John Bolton, because he's got a manuscript that is basically a rough draft of a book he is about to release. We talked about it on the show the other day. Now, it's very interesting that the person in the National Security Council that actually reviewed this manuscript to okay it for release to the public was none other than Alexander Vindman's twin brother. Now, President Trump has a lot of choice words about John Bolton. And specifically, he said, if I listened to him, we would be in World War VI right now. President Trump absolutely tearing into Bolton today. Now, Bolton has written this book about his tenure at the Trump White House, and the contents of which were illegally released to the New York Times under suspicious circumstances after this manuscript was submitted to the National Security Council for review, and again, by Alexander Vindman's twin brother. The leaks in this manuscript accused President Trump of wanting to tie aid to the Ukraine with investigations into the Bidens and the Democrats, and that Bolton thought Trump was doing favors for foreign leaders. Now, Trump had some choice words in a series of tweets. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. All right, so President Trump begins, for a guy who couldn't get approved for the ambassador to the UN years ago, couldn't get approved for anything since, begged me for a non-Senate approved job, which I gave him despite many saying, don't do it, sir, takes the job, mistakenly says Libyan model on TV, and many more mistakes of judgment, gets fired because, frankly, if I listened to him, we would be in World War VI by now, and goes out and immediately writes a nasty and untrue book. All classified national security. Who would do this? Why didn't John Bolton complain about this nonsense a long time ago when he was very publicly terminated? He said, not that it matters, nothing. Now, the alleged leaks in the manuscript have given some level of hope to the Democrats. They're really trying to use this as an opportunity to bring witnesses into this Senate trial. Now, apparently, Mitch McConnell has reported today that he does not have the votes to block witnesses from coming in. But the question is, if Bolton gets in there for a witness testimony, what is he going to say? Is he going to lie about President Trump, or is he lying right now so that then they want him to come in as a witness and then he tells the absolute truth? Well, It's difficult to tell with Bolton. We've gotten some mixed signals from him in the past. Let's go ahead and take a look at a clip of Bolton speaking in the past, and I'll show you why it's a difficult thing to pin down. Well, from GoTrump at GKyle on Twitter, it says, what do we have here? John Bolton in an interview describing the conversation between President Trump and Ukraine President Zelensky as warm and cordial in August of 2019. So again, President Trump asking why John Bolton didn't say something earlier, and apparently he did. He said that there was no problem with the call. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
A follow-up to my visit last year on Independence Day, where I was really honored to have a chance to participate in that, and now with the new government in Ukraine to see what might be possible going forward on a whole variety of fronts.
Do you plan to meet President Zelensky, and what messages did you bring to him?
Well, I will be meeting President Zelensky. He and President Trump have already spoken twice. President called to congratulate President Zelensky on his election and then on his success in the parliamentary election. They were very warm and cordial calls. We're hoping that they'll be able to meet in Warsaw and have a few minutes together because the success of Ukraine, maintaining its freedom, its system of representative government, a free market economy free of corruption, and dealing with the problems of the Donbass and the Crimea are high priorities here, obviously, but high priorities for the United States as well.
So right there, John Bolton with a glowing review of the multiple calls between President Trump and President Zelensky. Now he's out there saying that there were massive problems, that President Trump was trying to coerce Zelensky. If that were the case, then why would he have said this back then? Is it just that he's slimy enough to try and keep his job? Or is it just that he's slimy enough to now go after President Trump because he's upset about his firing? Well, there's another clip that Methods found about John Bolton speaking with Judge Andrew Napolitano. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one. All right, and Method says, I'm just going to leave this right here. So let's go ahead and take a listen, and you will understand why I think it's so important that you guys hear it. So, to give it some context, John Bolton, former National Security Advisor, has a history of lying when he thinks there's a good enough reason. Whether it's from the WMDs in Iraq to his false intelligence to try to push us into invading Iran in 2002, he only hears his truths. Here we go.
You would lie in order to preserve the truth.
If I had to say something I knew was false to protect American national security, I would do it.
Well, there you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth. John Bolton would have no problem lying if he felt it was the right thing to do. So, knowing what we know about President Trump, listening to the actual call, reading the transcript, rather, of his conversation with President Zelensky, it is pretty obvious exactly what happened on that call. We know that President Trump had a perfect call. There was no quid pro quo. There was no tying of an investigation to the aid that was given to Ukraine, that was released to Ukraine. Bearing in mind, once again, that the United States under President Trump has given more aid to Ukraine than in many years past. Also, the fact that we have sold them weapons which they can use for their national defense. So, who is the one who actually cares about the interests of America and the interests of Ukraine? I would say it doesn't seem like John Bolton does, but it sure seems like President Trump does. So now we've got John Bolton completely changing his story. The Democrats are running around with their pants on fire, can't wait to get John Bolton in and have him as a witness. And now Mitch McConnell doesn't have the votes to block it. The question is John Bolton going to come in and now tell the truth about this call as he did several months ago? Or is he going to come in and lie for the Democrats? Remember, we're watching a movie, so there's really no way to tell. It could go either way at this point. And I am of the opinion that even if we have witnesses come in and speak in the Senate trial, it is in no way going to affect the end result. President Trump will be acquitted. He has done nothing wrong. There has been no crimes, no misdemeanors, nothing constitutionally allowing for the impeachment of this president. 45 is the greatest president we've ever had. Now, yesterday we had a post confirming a past marker. If you'll remember, back on January 31st of 2018, we were given this post, Freedom Day, freedom. And it looks like Brexit is happening on January 31st, 2020. So we've got a 2-year Delta marker right there. Absolutely incredible. And our favorite Anon said confirmed in the post. Now, over the weekend, Methods had actually clipped this same portion of video out, and we talked about it on Comfy Sunday. The fact that there isn't just 17 transcripts, there's actually 18. The 18th transcript, which has yet to be released to the American public, is the testimony of Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson. So Maria Bartiromo and Representative Ratcliffe were speaking about this on Sunday, and Michael Sheridan, Boomer 4K, I love that name, went ahead and put this out himself as well, and then our favorite Anon shared it and said that this was important, so I want to make sure that everyone got a listen.
There were 18 witnesses that the House prosecutors had for this, but you have not seen all 18 transcripts. Is that right?
That's exactly right, Maria. The House managers kept putting up charts talking about the 17 witnesses, but there were 18. The 18th was the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, Michael Atkinson. He was the second witness interviewed on October 4th. I was there. It's the one transcript out of 18 that hasn't been released. It's a 179-page transcript, and you can bet that if that transcript was helpful to Adam Schiff and the Democrats and harmful to President Trump, everyone would have seen it by now. But instead, it's just the opposite. It's the one transcript that talks about Adam Schiff and the whistleblower. Now, everyone knows by now that Adam Schiff was not truthful about his contacts with the whistleblower. What they don't know, and what's in that transcript, is that the whistleblower wasn't truthful about his contacts with Adam Schiff. This whole thing started, Maria, when a whistleblower filed a complaint with the Inspector General under penalty of perjury that wasn't true and correct, made representations in writing and then verbally that weren't true and correct. And when we found that out and tried to get into the details of that, Adam Schiff, who was in charge of this investigation, shut it down, and now he's trying to bury that transcript.
So, as Representative Ratcliffe said, the importance of that 18th transcript is the fact that there were material misrepresentations by the leaker regarding his communications with Adam Schiff and his staff. So that information was not allowed to be released because clearly that information is damaging to Schiff and his case and the entire underlayment of this entire impeachment investigation and now the trial in the Senate. So when will this be released? Obviously, very important information for the public. I'd like to know exactly what the role of Michael Atkinson was in this entire thing, because we do know that Michael Atkinson played a role in changing the form so that hearsay could be entered as evidence in this whistleblower stuff. So very interesting, and we're going to have to keep our eyes on it because if it comes out, it certainly will sink Adam Schiff's ship. Now, important to note, the next post shows that the president and our favorite Anon had a 0 Delta post at the exact same time. So at the moment that that last post was released regarding the importance of that 18th transcript, President Trump released this retweet of Joel Pollak and says the witch hunt continues. Very awesome. Now in 3798, it says long list of winning and the best is yet to come. I'll have fun when things start happening in our favor. This is from an Anon on the board, and our favorite Anon replies, play a game of where are they now? Think CEOs, think FBI, think DOJ, think White House, think state, think clowns, think Five Eyes Intel, think judge install, think Supreme Court install, think DOJ install, think FBI install, think clowns in America install, think Prime Minister UK install, think the best is yet to come. So this is just clearly a nod to the fact that things have been happening in our favor, something I've been saying for a very long time. All of this stuff, forced, fired, appointed, and elected, it is all in our favor. We have been winning this whole time, you guys, and for the people who look at what's happening in this country and cannot see how long it has been in our favor, they are absolutely blind. And if anybody out there hasn't caught on yet, I mean no offense, but I want you guys to realize that this has been happening. We have been winning for as long as this operation has been going on. And now we are so close. We are in the end game. The best is truly yet to come. All right, next, in yet another example of future-proving past, Methods puts this tweet out, which includes text from a post which was posted last night by our favorite Anon. You don't think we highlighted JE for no reason, do you? Those who were once protected are no longer. Timing is everything. Hunters become prey. And Methods includes here a link to an article from Zero Hedge about Les Wexner preparing to sell his company. If you'll remember, Les Wexner was a very close associate of JE. And it looks like Wexner basically financed JE way back when, gave him that brownstone, and kind of had a very strange, close relationship with them. Now, let's take a look at the time the actual post was put out. It was released yesterday at 2:39 p.m. Now, let's take a look at when this information was released in Zero Hedge. All right, and we can see here posted Wednesday, today, 1:29 at 7:30 a.m. And that is once again an example of future proving past. Now, in the next post, we are reminded that George Washington used none other than Durham boats to cross the Delaware during the American Revolution. Remember, this picture right here posted sometime in 2017. We're going to look at a tweet thread from Enoch, which goes into it a little bit deeper. But it shows the Wikipedia entry for Durham boats, and our favorite Anon says, Anons found the subtle hint dropped in the beginning. Think Durham start. Think our favorite Anon start. You have more than you know. Now, if you'll remember, Durham was appointed on the exact same day that our favorite Anon started posting. Let's go ahead and look at the next post. Again, Durham boats used to cross the Delaware in Trenton, New Jersey, same state as tonight's rally. And it asks, do you believe in coincidences? Where is the rally held tonight? Enjoy the show. Let's take a look at the tweet thread from Enoch. All right, so Enoch reminded us back on December 26th, 1 hour before sunrise on December 26th, 1776, George Washington crossed the Delaware River using Durham boats in a surprise attack against the Hessian forces in a major turning point of the Revolutionary War. Durham boats. And here is that post right here showing the picture. Beautiful picture right there. And it says in 2019, Trump leads a surprise attack on Hussein's forces led by a Durham probe. Absolutely amazing. Now on the 28th, it says, update, who is helping POTUS? Last line of this post attached. It was right in front of us the whole time, Anons. In one of our favorite Anons' first posts, Q included the Delaware crossing. These boats sure did help POTUS, and Durham was appointed the same day as our favorite Anon's first post. In the very last line, who is helping POTUS? And the answer was right here with the Durham boat. Now, Johnny Nashville, and this is from the next post, he says from the very beginning, and he draws our attention to this fact right here, was the election supposed to be rigged? Suppose the D is missing. Who is helping POTUS? Giving us the hint that it is Durham the whole time. All right, now finally, remembering all of those posts from yesterday having to do with Washington crossing the Delaware, President Trump having his rally last night in New Jersey, here is a clip of President Trump speaking at that rally. And in his speech, he said George Washington. Yet another callback to the posts from earlier in the day.
New Jersey is the state where George Washington led a die-hard band of American patriots to victory at Trenton and Princeton and Monmouth in our glorious battle to win American independence. George Washington. This is the state where generations of tough and strong New Jersey craftsmen and dockers, farmers and factory workers.
There you go. President Trump mentioning George Washington after several posts having to do with this very subject, all in the same day, and after a zero delta, I might add. Well, guys, all I can say is it's happening. Record numbers of resignations, record numbers of removals, record numbers of appointments. Everything is being put in place to get us to the point where we can do those perp walks and make good on over 150,000 sealed indictments. You guys, do not lose faith, do not lose heart, continue this fight and stand strong. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.